Alright everybody, welcome back. I'm Simming and Oz, and today we're doing Cedric Diggory and his dad Amos Diggory. And I almost forgot to do these characters because I was just going along my merry way, and then all of a sudden, you know, when you wake up in the middle of the night and you're like, that was a moment for me. I'm like, I forgot to do Cedric. So we are doing Cedric, and I don't feel too bad about forgetting, honestly, because he was only in the one movie in the movies, and then he was sort of in the books, but in the movies he comes in for Goblet of Fire, and then by the end he dead. So forgive me if he wasn't my first priority. He wasn't the Harry Potter or anything. I'm sorry, Cedric. So I went in and I'm like, alright, try to replicate Robert Pattinson, but don't go nuts over it, because you don't want to end up with some chiseled older adult looking person. Just go for teenage boy. And it was a little bit of a rocky road because I immediately went in and tried to make Robert Pattinson, and I think I did okay. As I go along, you'll see that I get the basic outlines correct. He's got some very distinctive features. The hair color was real hard because The Sims 4 doesn't do dirty blondes in the slightest. They've got dark blonde, which is this faded yellow kind of thing, but it's just awful. And then they've got this grayish blonde, and it's not it. So yeah, we just went with some nice coppery tones, and it's a bit more Edward Cullen that I would have liked, but you know what, we do what we can. And the eyebrows are so distinctive, my gosh. So as you can see, you've got the basic characteristics of Robert Pattinson, and I was just looking at him, and by this point I'm going, oh damn, he's too much like an adult. I need to teenage boy this guy up, because just look at him. Teenagers don't exist that look like this. That's ridiculous. So I went through, I changed his hair. I did a little flowing thing. He's got the same hair as Tom Riddle. Sorry. And I wanted him to have, I've got a plan going forward with all of my Harry Potter characters. I don't want them to be too magical-esque. I'd rather lean into the aspect of they live in Hedford-on-Bagley, so they have to dress a bit country. So it's all very layers, it's all very earth tones, it's all very coats and winter style, a lot of boots, a lot of practical wear. So I wanted to give him the yellow scarf because obviously Hufflepuff, what a dearie. And I gave him just the tiniest bit of baby fat and freckles, just because I was like, he needs to be less attractive. What do I do? So I gave him slight baby fat. I made him a bit thinner, and I just gave him some very slight freckles, and I was hoping okay, teenage boy, I hope that's all right. And then for his fashions, it's just, your basic things. I just sort of had to keep in mind that this is a lad that is completely overshadowed by his very supportive dad. And I don't know how much control he'd have over his wardrobe, I'm not sure. I'm also not entirely sure what's happened to Cedric's mum. He doesn't have a mum. I didn't make him a mum. Not sure he has one. Not sure. So in my head, his mum's passed. God bless her soul. And so it's just been him and his dad for a really, really long time. And so they only have the 2-bedroom unit. And, they it's not well decorated. It's basic. It's not, it hasn't got the ladies' touch or anything. So yeah, I sort of wanted to, go with that. Amos I had fun with. What a character. I really wanted to replicate the actor as well, just because I thought he was so interesting looking. He's got this very round face. It's very peaches and cream skin. He's got very slight eyebrows, longer hair. He's graying a bit with the grey hair. And he's got sort of this thin mouth, upturned nose, red cheeks, and sort of very distinct eyes. And I really wanted to replicate that, and I had fun with him because he's so fun. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. So yeah, and I just wanted him to be someone you could see walking around an English village in the middle of nowhere. So I think I succeeded. But Amos was really fun. I like his glasses. Isn't he a cutie? And I made sure to give him, he's a bit of a snob, but he's a family man, He's sort of he'd be the guy in the English village that always goes to the town meetings and speaks up about stuff, he's that kind of guy. And get him down to the pub for like some pie and a beer, and he'd just do nothing but brag about his kid. That's the kind of guy I feel like Amos is. So yeah, and then Cedric, I feel like Cedric would just be, very amicable. He's trying to live up to his dad's expectations. He's very studious and everything. So I feel like he'd be, a big Henford on Bagley helper, be helping out at the grocery store and the flower store and all that kind of stuff. I don't know, if they had an animal shelter, he'd be volunteering there on the weekends, on summer holidays. That's this family right here. And I wanted to build them their little unit. Now, right now, we've got the Blacks living next door, and I needed to know who I was going to have live next door to them. And so what we did was we decided that it was going to be the Tonks, which is a bit of dramatic irony there, which I quite like. And I thought it can't just be the Tonks family. I wanted the Tonks to have just, a little smidgen of, they're not well off, which is sort of, accurate. So I wanted to have a lot of families fit into this second building. So as it stands, next door, the Blacks have the whole townhouse to themselves. And in this townhouse, they've got like 4 units here and 4 families live here. So it's all sort of patched in. So it's sort of a bit of a dynamic between the opulence of the Blacks, who have all the space in the world, versus these people who are living in a shoebox. And I wanted to make it accurate. Like I didn't want any of the neighbors to be silly. Like you wouldn't put, I don't know, a Death Eater in here or anything, or, like Bellatrix Lestrange or anything. No, it would be a bit weird. They need to have their own thing. So the people living here need to make sense. It also needs to make sense that they're living in town of Henford on Bagley, not the country aspect of it. So yes, you've definitely got Amos and Cedric living in town, because I feel like they'd be big in the community. And as for the actual home, I wanted it to be a bit drab and basic. Like it hasn't been updated in a while, and it's not very well decorated, as I said. So it's very much a gentleman's apartment kind of thing, and I feel like it's not cluttered, and I feel like I really held back there. It's got the bones of what every other unit is, but they have not put much effort into actually decorating it. One thing I did want to add is that Amos would so have all of Cedric's like childhood photos and awards and participation trophies on the wall, just for if anyone was going to come by for tea, he would so have them just hanging on the wall, because Cedric is obviously his pride and joy and everything. So I just love that aspect of it. But yeah, their home is their home, and with the bathrooms, I just went with basic bathrooms. I felt like if someone bought this townhouse, this whole townhouse is obviously a landlord, they would have renovated all the bathrooms to look mostly the same. So all the units are sort of same, and it's just, there's a through line to them, I think, except for whoever lives in the last unit down the hall in this underground area. I decided to do Quirrell because Quirrell was not the top of my priority list, and I did not know where to put him. Like, I was going through my big list of, okay, I've got 4 units, who can I put and who is currently homeless? And Quirrell kept coming up, and I'm like, okay. He's not technically a Death Eater. He was more of just hitching a ride for Voldemort. So he's not a Death Eater, but you know what? We could do something here because it could be quite fun. He doesn't have to have a lavish apartment, so I don't end up giving him one, but you'll see later on. I do add in Quirrell's finishing of Quirrell's apartment to the end of this video just because it was right there and I'd already made Quirrell and I wanted to at least show everybody how I featured that apartment, so I do add it in on the end of this video after I've done with the Diggorys. But for now we're doing Cedric's room. Cedric's room is very neat. It's all very light tones. I really wanted to bring cheerful into it. I probably failed, but it's I didn't want it to be too feminine. I'm not sure how I succeeded at that, but it's all very neat because he'd want it to be neat, and it's all very sweet and everything. I really love his bedspread and everything, but he's got a lot of books. He's got some trophies on his little thing. I feel like there'd be some trophies he'd be proud of, and the rest he'd just wish his dad would pack away into a storage unit somewhere because he's just tired of his dad going on about it. I don't think he's quite ashamed of his dad. He just wished he'd stop bragging about me all the time. The Hufflepuff in him could never. So now we move on to Quirrell's apartment, and it's the one apartment in the whole complex where I wanted it to be drab. Like, I don't think Quirrell's very well off. I don't know, like, he's only probably been Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher for a year, the year that Harry actually, you know, did his thing, I think. I'm not sure of the validity of that, but because there's it's a curse on the position, they have to fill it every single year. That, he's between jobs, so to speak. So I wanted him to have a very sparse apartment. It's very drab. It's very cluttered as well. I like the touch of paranoia that this man has. So it's drab. He's got a lot of fascination with vampires. I do put some vampire portraits down, and he's just got, a lot of research and everything. And I think that's what Dumbledore was sort of keying into, his keen intellect for the dark arts, vampires specifically, and his very much fear of them. I was going to absolutely bathe the front door in garlic, but I went through the menu like 3 times and I could not find the garlic garlands that you get. I just couldn't find them. I don't know if that's a current bug or something, but I combed that thing and I couldn't find them. So that was a bit annoying. But really, that's mostly it for this build. Cedric has their apartment and everything, and, Amos is there, and it's all very nice. There's not big families in this unit. I think the biggest family is the Tonks, and they've got the upper floor and the roof, so it's all right. But thank you so much for coming along. I really enjoyed just filling up this unit because I'd had so many homeless people in my gallery that I'd made, and I really wanted to home them. So I feel really good about getting a lot of people homed and furnished and in here, and that, they're all living together. So thank you so much for coming along. Like and subscribe if you want to, but whatever. And just hope you're having a fantastic day, okay? I'll see you in the next one, all right? Bye-bye.